Hey everybody! So we are now making our Super Mother Clucker Burgers. Sorry, Sam Jackson. Alright, so we wanted to make a burger that tasted delicious and incorporated some organ meats into it to maximize nutrition into the diet. A lot of people get weirded out by liver, so what we wanted to do is use some seasoning and spices to disguise the liver as well as the texture of the meat. So we're starting with some ground chicken. We already got some pre-ground chicken. You can grind your own if you want to, and that's fine. Today we're using the KitchenAid mixer with the meat grinding attachment for grinding our liver. But if you do not have one of these, you could use a food processor. Just do not over pulse the food processor and turn it into complete mush. So here we go. I have some chicken livers. Now you can firm up the chicken liver texture and make it less mushy a couple of ways. You can marinate in some acid, like yogurt, enough yogurt to cover the thing, then the livers, then rinse the livers off and prep them when you're ready. You can sear them up a little bit to get some of the moisture out of them. And when you grind them, they're a little less mushy. They're still going to be pretty mushy, but they'll be a little less mushy. And we're also going to show you a couple other tricks on how to get a firmer texture on the burgers. So I'm going to flip my grinder on. This grinder attachment, you want to make sure that it is secure tight. It will vibrate a lot if it's not properly secure, and you want to make sure the collar around the blade is nice and secure too. If it's not secure, as it vibrates, you'll actually see the collar start working itself off and actually unscrewing itself, which makes a big hassle when you're trying to get this stuff done. So I'm going to flip it on here, and I am going to feed my chicken livers into it. And there's this little stick that comes with the KitchenAid. This is meant to help you push the meat through the grinder. So another thing that can help you out too is after you marinate the chicken livers, or any kind of liver that you're using, if you get them super cold, almost frozen, they will hold up a lot better as well. Cold is your friend in the burger making process when it comes to burgers with organ meats. So we got the chicken livers working its way through. My ground chicken that's down below is actually near freezing as well. It'll help hold up in the texture a lot better the colder it is. Today it's really warm out though, so I don't know if I'm going to get through all the mix-ins and it'll still hold the texture I want to make the patties, so we'll find out. But if it gets too warm while you're trying to work in all the mix-ins, you could always throw it in the fridge or the deep freeze. If you throw it in the fridge, leave it in there for about an hour. If you throw it in the deep freeze, 15 minutes to a half hour should work. You don't want to freeze it solid to where you can't work with it, but you want it to be firmed up enough that it will hold its shape well enough that when you form it into patties, it will work with you better. Alright, so I'm going to crank this thing up a little bit, just to turn it on high, just to make sure I'm getting all the stuff out of here, all the livers. Also, one other trick that you can use is if you're using one of these machines and you're grinding your own chicken or pork butt or anything like that, if you grind the meat and the chicken or the livers at the same time and like slide in one piece of meat, chicken liver, one piece of meat, chicken liver, it'll also help the texture a bit. Keep that firmer. Alright, so when you're done using this too, you want to make sure that you clean these things very well. If you don't take it apart and clean it, then you run the risk of bacterial growth in here and contaminating your foods. So I am going to now add my Parmesan. I am going to add my garlic. It is very hot and humid out here today in Connecticut, and everything seems to be sticking. So I am going to add in this recipe, part of the reasons why it's a Super Mother Clucker is we're actually adding some collagen. Some collagen powder. So collagen's great for your joints. It's great for your hair, for your stomach, for your nails, for your skin. And it is a component in helping your bones become stronger. It's a fantastic protein. You can only get it from animals. And we're going to add some in to up the nutrient count into our chicken here. We got some parsley. We have some fennel seeds. And we have some sage. Second to last, we got our egg as the binder. And the egg is also great for a nutritional factor. Not as it just a great binder, but it actually, in a smaller concentration, has similar nutrient profile as liver. A little fat, more fat too. One of the last things we're going to add in is we got a bit of konjac flour, and I'm going to sprinkle some in because we don't want it to clump. And then we're going to start working stuff through. I'm using my hands. If you want to use some sort of implement to mix everything through, you can do that. But I'm a caveman, so I will use my hands. All right. Now, as I said, cold is your friend. So after I'm done with this, it is going to go into the deep freezer for a little bit after everything is incorporated. If you want to wear gloves, you can. If you don't want to get your fingers all into the chicken and the chicken livers and everything, you're more than welcome to wear gloves. You can use a fork or a spatula to mix everything in. The other thing I want to do is after everything's mixed, I want to give time for the konjac to do its power. The superpower of the konjac in this recipe is actually to absorb some of this moisture and to firm up the burger and give it a little bit more structural integrity. And konjac is also known as glucomannan powder. You can find it online. We'll put a link to it. And you can also sometimes find it at places like GNC or something because they are a dietary supplement for fiber. And we usually use the Now brand, but in general, glucomannan is pretty nutty with the way it reacts. A very little bit will go a long way, and it absorbs moisture in a nutty method and expands. So you don't actually need a lot, but it's really great for thickening sauces and stews and things like that. And if you look on a lot of recipes on the blog at carriebrown.com, you'll find that glucomannan is used quite a bit in the soups and stews or sauces, and it's also used in baking to help structure of nut flour type biscuits and things like that. All right. I just got some frozen lumps I'm trying to work out, but it's pretty well incorporated. So what I'm going to do is this is going to go into the deep freeze, get chilled up, and I will come back and show you how to form it into patties. And then we're going to be doing some cooking. Have a good one. Hey everybody, and we're back. So we've got our Super Mother Cluckers. Again, sorry Sam Jackson. All firmed up, much easier to work with now. Now, one other tip I'm going to have for you is make these ahead of time. Make them into patties and then throw them in the freezer. One of the things that we found is that when we cooked these from a frozen patty, they actually held together better than trying to put them in as a unfrozen patty. So get yourself either a Pyrex or some freezer safe type of container. Get yourself some parchment paper or wax paper if you're going to use it. And what you're going to do is form into little balls. The other thing too with the chicken, we found that keeping the patties on a bit of a smaller size actually helped quite a bit. So I'm just going to take it's still kind of loose. So I'm just taking about a palm size amount of the grounds, and I am going to place it between 2 pieces of parchment paper. Use the back of my hand to flatten it out a little bit, and into the storage container it's going to go. You can make these a little bit larger, but I found with the chicken, it has a little bit of a harder time holding together than the Power Pork patties that we also have, if you want to check out that video. And that is generally because the ground chicken isn't quite as muscular as the ground pork, and because it lacks the muscle, it doesn't quite hold up as well. So freezing them goes a long way to making a whole burger when you're done. Now, the flavor profiles we put in here are very much like sausage, a fennel sausage, sagey sausage. So these are also great to have as a chicken breakfast sausage patty if you wanted to make a sandwich with some egg in there. That would be awesome. There we go. Now, I'm not going to sit here and make you watch me make all these different patties. So we're going to cut away. I'm going to finish making the patties. I'm going to throw these in the freezer and let them freeze and firm up. And I will come back and we'll cook a couple up. Hey everybody, we're back. And we have the Power Porky Burger, dry chili burgers, and we have the Super Mother Clucker Burgers. Both of these frozen solid. We're going to heat up our pan, get it nice and hot, put a layer of oil in. The thing about these burgers is they can be fragile, so putting them on a grill may not be the best plan, but if you have a pan just like this Lodge right here, you could actually use this. In just a moment, the gerbil is making a guest appearance. Jojo, down! So, she wants burgers too. You're going to put a thin layer of oil onto your pan to help keep things from sticking. And these things are great. If you want to do these on the grill, I would suggest putting a griddle surface down, and that'll help you keep these burgers intact. They are a bit fragile from the organ meats that are used in there. So, the trick to these is you put them down and you don't touch them. There we go. If you get into flipping these things a lot, they're going to fall apart. So what you want to do is you want to put them down and leave them there. The cooking time can vary based on how thick and how large these burgers actually are. So if you make a really big burger, you're going to want to cook it a bit longer. If you're making a burger that's moderate size, smaller, maybe a slider burger, they may only take about 5 minutes per side. Oil the pan first also, so again, that's just common sense to prevent sticking. And you can use whatever oil you want to use. Right now I'm using avocado oil, but if you want to use some beef tallow, some lard, something like that, you can definitely do that. So anyway, this is probably the moment in time where we're going to speed up the film and just fast forward watching the burgers cook. Alright, we're back. So, we are now going to flip the burgers. And when you flip them, you will see that they are actually pretty fragile. Okay? And then again, after you flip them, don't touch them. If you try to keep doing too much, they will fall apart. Now, if you're using a cast iron skillet, one thing that you might want to have instead of a plastic nylon spatula like this is maybe a metal spatula. That'll help you get underneath them a little bit better. So, but if you look at the chicken one, because of the cheese that's in there, that Parmesan, I'm actually starting to get a little bit of a crusty cheese layer on the burger patty, which is really nice. The sweetener that's in the chili burger is starting to give me a little crusty effect on the chili burger. You can serve these, they're great just on their own with whatever sauce. Maybe put them with a salad and make a burgers type salad. Again, the chicken burger is fantastic with breakfast foods. So if you want to make like a sandwich with the chicken burger, maybe a poached egg on top. You can use some Fox Hill buns, which are really great. They're fantastic for burger buns. I've used sauteed portobello mushrooms before. And if you want, you can check out our video for bacon wrapped onion rings. And when you do the bacon wrapped onion rings, that's a great side, especially for the Porky dry chili burgers. For pairing the Porky burgers, I recommend either a nice sharp cheddar cheese or a nice smoked cheese to go along with that chili flavor. So smoked cheddar would be fantastic, but also a smoked Gouda or smoked Swiss would be great on there. Top it with minimal stuff. Honestly, if you just want to leave it with some mayo, some cheese, maybe a little ketchup or barbecue sauce, and you can put lettuce and tomato on there if you want, but I kind of like that chili to come out a bit. Also, if you have a good recipe for a keto cornbread, you can make cornbread round muffins, large enough, and use those for the burger buns, which is really good. So the cornbread, the keto cornbread, they usually use extracts like buttered popcorn extract in there to give it a cornbread type flavor. All right, and when you flip them, they don't take as long to cook on the other side, but you do want to cook them there for a while because as you cook the one side, the first side, the top side kind of went soft. So flipping it over, cooking it down there, getting them a nice sear helps firm up that other side as well. Alright, so you can see our chicken burger is about done. It's got a nice firm texture. It's holding up real well. Now that both sides are cooked and some of that moisture's out and absorbed, the heat's also going to help the konjac absorb some more of that moisture. But we have a delicious Mother Clucker.
Yum!
Again, sorry, Sam Jackson. The pork one takes a little bit longer to cook because it's pork and bacon. But as you can see, it's getting done on that side as well. We got a nice little sear, and I'm going to go ahead and turn my heat off. And there we go, we got our Power Porky burgers right there. These things are very good. And honestly, you can't even really tell that there's any liver or any organ meats in there. So, especially if you're trying to get your kids to eat the organ meats and you want to disguise it and send it in on a Trojan horse, give them a burger. Great way to go. All right, everybody. See you later.